I'm very happily married. Doesn't mean I don't want the male gaze and the male attention. I do.
Yeah.
What is going on? Look at this face. Look at this body. Look at this attitude. If it scares you, then I understand. But don't be scared.
We don't talk motherhood. I mean, shadi karo, bacche paida karo. This is what girls are taught from a very young age.
I don't want to be at par with a man. I am a woman and I must know my own power.
Ira, what does because she can mean for you?
Because she can be true to herself and because she can be whoever she wants to be.
So Koel, if you can shed some light, what was it like working with Ira?
When we're talking to sponsors, we both look at each other and we're like looking at the other men and they don't know. They're saying yes to everything we are asking for, right?
If you could have a secret superpower, what would it be?
Time.
To be invisible.
Hello, and a warm welcome to a brand new episode of Because She Can. I'm Divya, your host, along with Stuti, and we today are interviewing two incredibly dynamic women, Ira Dubey and Koel Purie. Ira is exceptional, both when it comes to cinema as well as theatre, bringing characters to life with rare depth and authenticity. Her performance in films like Marigold and Aisha showcased her ability to infuse every role with nuance and resonance. Beyond the silver screen, Ira's portrayal of complex characters on stage, including the emotionally charged 30 Days in September, has left audiences captivated. Her internationally acclaimed one-woman show, 9 Parts of Desire, directed by her mother, Lilith Dubey, stands as a testament to her versatility and storytelling prowess. Koel is amazing. She's not just an amazing actress, a show host producer, but also a writer. She recently launched her debut novel, Clearly Invisible, in Paris. Her journey is a rich tapestry of diverse roles and impactful storytelling. Her contributions extend beyond acting. As a producer and host, she continues to shape dynamic narratives in the industry. Koel's relocation to Paris and the establishment of a production company reflect her visionary approach to media, cementing her status as a cultural trailblazer. Hello and welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of Because She Can, the podcast, and of course, this movement. And we have some really fun questions for you. And I want to talk about your journey as actors, your journey as women, Koel, your journey as a mother. Let's start from your journey as a child. Give us a peek into the wonder years. So, Ira, what were you like as a child and what's inspired you to be an actor?
Well, as a child, I was a pretty quiet kid, but I used to read a lot. And then I became a really wild teenager. So I don't know how that happened. And acting, I mean, I was surrounded by women, strong women who are actors. I come from a Nautanki family through and through. So I remember watching my mom. I remember I was in my dad's lap being sort of like being pacified in a theater. And it was a show called Agnes of God. I must have been 2 or 3 years old. And I was mesmerized by my mom playing a nun on stage, and it's a beautiful show. And we were dumped on stage as kids. My Masi and both my Masis in Delhi have a theater company called Kids World, so we were kind of dumped on stage literally from the age of 3 and 4. And I think the idea of make-believe is so exciting for a child anyway. So I was, all of us were ready to jump into that world and play different characters and animals and stuff, but it stuck for me. I think there was something at a very young age which kind of transfixed me to that idea of becoming somebody else.
I love that. And Koel, what were you as a child? Did you know you wanted to be an actor? And, it just came to you.
I just wanted attention and I didn't care in what form it came. So I think I've said this quite a few times, but this is, I think, a sort of trait that most middle children have, that maybe who look at me, and do whatever it takes to get the attention that we need. And from very early, I realized that I was a storyteller. As far as the medium is concerned, it's changed as I've grown older. But that desire for attention, that remains. I think that is one of my earliest memories of what made me was I needed to be in the spotlight.
I love that. And did the family play a role? Like, were they encouraging, discouraging? How?
Obviously, they were discouraging, not even discouraging. They were not giving me the attention, which is why the need. Which is why the need. I mean, when you come from a family of divas and super achievers, no one's interested in what you have to say. So therefore, even louder, even more, come on, look at me, me, you know, so. And they're just like, poof.
I love that. I love that. Middle child, attention, let's rule the world.
I love it. I love the amount of steps you've skipped in between.
And let's just get that. Sthiti, you want to ask?
I want to ask Ira, because of course your mum is such a powerhouse of talent, Miss Lilith Dubey. Obviously, you grew up around her. So did you ever feel that pressure, or like, to grow into yourself as an actor, or like the external noise? A lot of people have a lot of opinions to say about that. So how did that influence your journey?
I think, yeah, it's a unique predicament working with your parent in a creative capacity, for sure. She's a hard taskmaster, and it's not been easy. It's not always been a bed of roses. But she's pushed me to be better and better, you know. We argue a lot, and we sort of disagree a lot. But I think that's been part of the journey. When I finally moved out of the house, though, 6 years ago, everything's become much better. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have someone who's so passionate and who's so committed to her craft, which is primarily theatre, push me to be better and better. I've traveled the world with her work, with her plays. I'm part of her troupe. So I feel very lucky, very fortunate.
Stuti, can I jump in here just to say,
Of course.
Ira, you have moved back, you have moved out of the house, and that's changed your relationship. I totally understand that. But I am coming full circle. I've been living away from home since I was 17. I just want to move back home. I want someone to decide the menu. I want someone to do the laundry, just organize my life. I don't want to be living on, running my own house. Please, can I move back home? Mommy, Papa, I really will be an amazing child. I will not be an attention seeker. I will just be an entertainer. I just want to move back home.
Yeah, I live with that, Koel. I mean, I think, especially for me, I think I have my mother-in-law who's literally my backbone with everything. So, attention. I mean, I think independence comes at a price, right?
Totally.
Also, you've been away so long. I think bahut ho gaya independence.
I don't want independence.
Yeah.
I want nurturing. I want pampering. I want to be looked after so that my creative juices can flow and I don't have to look after anybody.
Want the nannies that you get in Delhi and Bombay and 3 drivers and the people holding on.
So with all this talk about mummies and of course mothers and daughters, it's such a special relationship, also a very challenging relationship for all of us. So let's talk a little bit about your play. We've had the privilege of seeing Mummy's Dead, Long Live Mummy. So few questions specific to both of you. I would like to start with Koel. Where did you get this inspiration of doing this play?
I think the idea of wanting to talk about my experience of motherhood started very much with becoming a mother. And I don't think I am unique to wanting to do this. The becoming a mother is a very, very powerful, very confusing, very complex, very individual experience. It makes you very lonely, but at the same time, you're tied to this universal thing that, everyone does it. What's the big deal? It is that. And I can guarantee you, unless there are really like 1 or 2 mothers who don't feel the need to actually speak about, share in whatever form, what their experience has been. Now, I'm lucky I'm a writer, so I could write this out. So the idea of it, perhaps the germ of it came from the very moment that I became a mother. It took the form of a play and the form of Mummy's Dead only last October. So that was a very The minute I said, okay, now enough, you've been thinking about this idea for a while, put pen to paper. But the minute I put pen to paper, it was not a book, it was not a blog, it was not a film, it was not any of those things. It had to be a play because of the way that it was structured, the way it was written. And every story finds its own medium. But I think most of us mothers have
Been there.
quite often, more often than we admit, been on edge, been on edge of some kind where we're ready either to bang the baby's head on the wall or ours. We don't do it, but we understand the instinct of that.
Koel, I'd love to ask just on that. How has that journey been for you as a mother, right? I mean, going from Delhi, going to Tokyo, going to Paris, and then managing this whole journey of, writing a book, being an actor, and, this whole concept of mommy's guilt. Like, what is that journey for you as a mother, and how are you handling it?
I'm getting through. I don't think anyone can truly handle or balance. You just get through. Even for instance, let me give you an example. We're here, we're having great success of Mummy's Dead. We had standing ovation. We had a standing ovation last night for our last show of in Delhi. It's been a dream, right? But then I speak to my husband, who is an amazing husband, and it's been hell back in Paris for a lot of reasons. Someone is sick, the dog is got diarrhea, so he's pooing all over the place, the blah, blah, blah. There's a confusion between the teacher who was supposed to come, then not come. She started a new school. He's got conferences that he needs to go to, but he needs to be the main parent. The Nunu means the nanny is somewhere else. There is utter bordel, as we call it, like nightmare happening in back home in Paris. You kind of just go, gosh, I feel guilty, but it's a useless emotion. What can I do? So you block out the noise and you get through. Literally. And I feel that that's a metaphor for all the years of motherhood, for me at least. And this is why perhaps I needed to write this, is because every day has just been getting through. I don't have a manual. I don't have a how to do it. I don't have a this is the right way, that's the wrong way. We just do the best we can.
I love that. And really, thank you for sharing that. And I just think I needed to hear that, right? Just, it's okay to just kind of get through and not be perfect.
But I want to ask Ira that when did you decide to collaborate with Koel and get this to India, and throw it to both of you, if you can share some fun anecdotes of this super amazing collaboration and teamwork that came through.
I'll leave the fun trivia to Koel. She's good at that.
Love you, Ira.
Love you more. So 2 months ago, not even 2 months, literally 2 months, 2.5 months ago, she reached out to me. We had a lovely chat, and then I asked her for the script. And when I read the script, very much like you said, Stuti, it made no darn difference that I wasn't a mother. I thought it's a terrific script. Yeah. It was very, very poignant, very funny, very sharp, very well written. And I just fell in love with the script to begin with. And then it was sort of this instinct or this gut feeling of wanting to work with Koel and sort of shake hands with her. And I think, again, as we spent time together in the last few days, there is a sensibility sort of synergy, creatively. She touched upon this earlier, and I completely agree. And I think that also, more than anything, as a producer, I felt that it was absolutely the right time to bring a show like this to India. So we don't talk enough. I mean, mental health has become very woke in the last 10 years, maybe 5 years, but we don't talk enough about issues. Okay. We don't talk motherhood. I mean, Shadi karo, bacche paida karo. This is what girls are taught from a very young age. This is absolutely like part and parcel of what your role as a woman requires, demands, right? You cannot question that, right? So I think the fact that we're even questioning it is important. Number two, we're questioning it at a time where a lot of young women like you and me, Stuti, will say, "Arey, darn it, man, I don't want to get married. I want to live with a woman. I don't want to have children," whatever. Right? Yeah. We're challenging all the social conventions that our mothers and our grandmothers.
And the timelines that are imposed on us, and we're defined by them.
Yes. So I think that both for young women who are not mothers, who don't want to be mothers, for them to get an insight means gauze and guts and everything into what it actually takes to be a mom. That then for women to have a support system and a sisterhood and a safe space where they can feel like they can express themselves. I mean, Koel will tell you the kind of, I'm sure, stories women have come and shared with her, about their own experiences. Only a play like this could bring that out, and I feel that I just felt that it was, everything about it felt just right, but it was a gut instinct about why I wanted to do it and bring it to India at this moment in time.
So, Koel, if you can shed some light, what was it like working with Ira? Tell us some funny personal anecdotes. What was it like on the sets?
Okay, I'll tell you. I mean, Ira has covered most of what I would have said, because as we are discovering and continue to discover, and may we continue to discover forever, we are each other's twins in a lot of ways, especially in the way that we react and think. I'm a lot more aggressive. She's a lot calmer, but just the thought is the same. And so two things that I will tell you, which came to me, which will kind of encapsulate our relationship. One was, look at us on Zoom right now, okay? So we look like just cute little girls, nicely dressed, whatever, out there. So when we're talking to sponsors, when we're talking to a bunch of accountants on Zoom or in a big conference room, we come in there, we know our stuff, we're very charming and all the rest of it. And we hadn't even met at this point properly, right? I was sitting in Paris, she was sitting in Bombay, and we were already doing all this kind of stuff. We'd both look at each other and we're like looking at the other men, and they don't know. They're saying yes to everything we are asking for, right?
I love that.
You got to use it always.
You got to use it. And so all this, it's almost like it's not, some women would turn around and say, oh, but then you're doing damage to the Me Too movement and all the rest of it. No, know your power. I never want to be equal to a man. I have got so many more things which men could never have, so yeah. I don't want to be at par with a man. I am a woman, and I must know my own power. And it's the same. I saw it with Ira. She knows her power. We don't need to be feminists who shout about it.
Very true.
We can stiletto our way into a room and command it. So for me, that to me was instant. Like, okay, this works. We don't have to have a whole preamble of explanation. Let's do this. Let's do that. We'd get on a call. We'd get off a call. There was no debrief needed. There was nothing. It was just like, okay, moving. Second thing I'll tell you, which even Ira doesn't know, but the other day she said to me, what is this? This is not the Y-Flow audience, but another audience. She's like, what is this audience? If any of them move around anymore, I'm going to give them one tight slap. And I was like, someone is speaking my mind. Yes, I don't have to do this because someone else will do it. And this is where you get good co-producers, where someone picks up where you leave off and vice versa. So for us, so far, it's been magic.
Yeah, and I also think, just picking up from that the balance is important. We are very similar in the way we think creatively, and even as women, I think, but our personalities are different, and that balance is very important.
I want to ask here, Ira, Koel, both, is it harder for women to be taken seriously when you're bringing a production from Paris? Was it hard to do this as an all-woman crew? And I see its advantages. But is there this sense of that, are they serious? Are they real? Is it a real production? Or what do you think is the mindset?
Divya, this is such an interesting question that I ask myself often. I'm a privileged person, and I'd like to hear your take on this as well. I feel privileged the way that I have led my life, where I have never had to not be taken seriously. Right? Maybe it's the way that I conduct myself. Maybe it's what I bring to the table. I don't know, right? Maybe it's my background. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of all those things. But I have never had to prove myself in a room. I come in there. I'm able, as long as the project is good enough, I'm able to get the eyeballs or the promises or whatever is required. But, and this is the but, I'm unable to convince myself. Somewhere, I myself am judging me with this imposter syndrome of, are you sure you can do this? Are you capable of doing this? You're bringing a project, what rubbish. That when it does come together, it surprises me more than it surprises anyone else. So it is that voice that we as women have somewhere, in spite of having all the success and privilege and all the things that I've had in my life, that voice doesn't go away still. I shush it. I go, shut up, don't talk to me, this imposter syndrome person. But it's constantly there. Even for this tour, I'm just like, how are we here? How are we managing to get this? Like, how did Divya sponsor our play? How did Lalit say yes? How did Mahindra say yes? If I was a man, would I be questioning myself? No, I'd be expecting it. So yes, your question is, I don't question it when I'm in front of other people, but I question it in private. It's very interesting. What do you think, Ira?
I think that, yeah, I mean, you maybe that social cultural conditioning makes you second guess yourself, and that's why you sort of have to assert yourself even more as a woman. But yeah, the privilege, the strata of society and culturally where we come from, my lineage in the theater world, all these things will help. But those are things that, see, nepotism again has become such a woke word and all, and we've discussed it to death in our country in recent years. But see, you don't choose your family, right? You don't choose where you're born. So you have to own it. You have to live a life that you accept and reconcile with it and own it and wear it as a badge of honor. And if you use that to your advantage when you can, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I firmly believe that. So there's nothing that I feel apologetic about, or I feel Koel should feel apologetic about. Yes, I mean, when she came to me, I mean, we had a lot of help from our friends, from very, very generous people, including you, Divya. And I believe, because I've been a theatre wala through and through to the core, and I don't come from enormous wealth, that the arts need the support. I understand we live in a country where there is illiteracy, where there is poverty, where there are many, many more pressing things to be taken care of that need attention. But if we don't do it, even a handful of us, the arts will die slowly but surely. Social media and Instagram and whatever variations of that are to come in the years to come will take over the entire world, and we won't see a play in 20 years.
Art, like even in the event that we did for you, which was a cross-generational event, a lot of the families were Delhi semi-conservative families that were there, who were the older lot. And for them, this play was literally on the edge. It was pushing them out of their comfort zone. And I know, Divya, you wanted that. You wanted the conversation to start. You wanted people to be not just sit comfortably and, do that. And I think through entertainment, exactly what Ira said, that through entertainment, you're able to say more than you are able to say through a lecture or class, a master class, a piece of information or something. Through entertainment, you can connect very well. So I said theatre has always pushed the boundaries, whether it's from the time of the Greeks, it's reflected society, it's always given the sides of society, the ethics, the values, but it's also questioned norms. That's the place that theatre can do more easily than any other art form can do. And, we are so grateful for having patrons like you, like Mahindra, like Lalit, who basically support people like us, because this is an important piece of theatre, I believe.
But, like literally, Koel, I think at the play, you spoke about sex education, you talked about IVF, you literally had a condom, you talked about smoking half cigarettes. I mean, you wouldn't have the guts to talk about these subjects in that room normally. And really, thank you so much for doing that, because you made it possible. And because it was the arts and the way it was done, and it was classy and it was elegant, but it just hit the point home that this is real. If you have a teenager, sex education is very important, right? It's going to happen. You can't close your eyes and expect it's not happening.
And how many Indian women, actually around the world, let's not just say Indian, how many families don't want to push it under the carpet and just close their eyes? My mother has a famous phrase. She goes, "Makhi dekh kar nigli nahi jati." What the hell does that even mean? Like, makhi dekh kar nigli nahi jati means if it's happening behind a closed door, that's fine. I don't want to know.
I think you made a very valid point that, of course, in India, we have a lot of issues, but theater, it can drive conversations in a more fun way that probably otherwise we're like all brushing under the carpet. But like, I want to ask you guys, of course, you both collaborated on this, two strong women coming together, but then acting and this entire space is even today, there are a lot of issues like pay parity, and women are pitted against each other continuously. That there are few spots on the top, and you have to pit against each other. So, in such a competitive space, how do women like you find true friendships and true collaborators?
Good question.
Go for it.
It's again a very personal thing, and you're bang on. It's not just, I think there's only a handful of people, male and female, who can rule the roost in the acting world, if you look at Bollywood per se. Last night I had an interview with Nasiruddin Shah, who's now 73 years old. And the way that he spoke and the way his sort of worldview is so inspiring in a way. I just to share and give you an example. He's known to diss award ceremonies and award functions. And someone mentioned, a journalist yesterday in the middle of this press conference, that, we've heard in your farm, you've turned your awards into door handles. And he said, Are, please don't say all this and all that. So I think that you've got to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt. Even fame, at the end of the day, fame is ephemeral. No? As high as you go, you will come down also one day. So I think that's something that Koel also fundamentally understands. And like I said, when you can look at life very deeply and very truthfully, but also with a lightness, it's very important, because then you don't get carried away by all this other stuff, And when you find people who resonate with that and who understand that, then the collaborations become very easy, And for me personally, I will also say that fame, I've never run after the fame part of it. It doesn't get me off at all, And I'm here for the long haul. I have lots of things to do. बहुत काम करना है, बहुत कुछ करना है, and I mean, I'm delighted and thrilled and very sort of moved that I found a wonderful friend and collaborator in Koel, and hope we do many, many wonderful things together. And that's what it is all about: finding like-minded creative and making good, fun stuff that's going to make a mark.
So, the theme for us is Because She Can. And I'd love to ask both of you, Ira and Koel. Ira, what does Because She Can mean for you?
Because she can defy expectations, because she can be true to herself, and because she can be whoever she wants to be.
Love that.
Simple.
For me, I think this is part of how I live, because no one told her she can't.
That's amazing.
Beautiful.
Ira and Koel, this has been such a provocative conversation, like everything you guys do. So we just want to end it on a lighter note, and Divya and I are going to play tag and ask each one of you one question, and just a quick rapid fire round. Divya, you want to start?
Koel, if you could have a secret superpower, what would it be?
Time. I would stretch time.
To be invisible.
What do you do before you go to bed?
I read. Unless I read, I cannot sleep. So sometimes I'll come home, because I have a bit of a social life, at very late in the night, completely can't even see straight. I don't know how I got into bed. I will still need to read, and I'll realize that I read the same page for about 45 minutes. But I still need to do it. I can't sleep unless I read.
Me?
Ira?
Actually pray. Just like express gratitude.
Wow.
Unless I'm doing the other thing with somebody else.
Or with yourself.
Or with myself.
Who needs a man?
That is the perfect segue to my next question, which was only for Ira, which is finish the phrase, the way to my heart is.
Through my head.
The way to my heart is for Koel Purie.
Being cheeky.
That's
I
cute.
can see that.
That's nice.
Okay, guys, last question for both of you. What would you be like to be remembered as?
I'd like to be remembered as someone who finished stuff. A finisher.
I'd like to be remembered as someone who touched people. I can be very cheesy when I want to be. Yes.
Lovely. You've moved us. And guys, thank you so much. And this has been absolutely fabulous.
Thank you so much.